Thanks to Sunday for sponsoring today's video.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. In the last video I made those steel truss headers. They're going to be going up right there on the building. So the tops of the headers are going to be even with the bird's mouth, which is the notch cut out in the rafters. So you can imagine it needs to be dead level. How do you mark here, there, all perfectly level with that top plate of that wall? I'm sure there's many ways you can do it. You could use a hose level, water level I mean. You could snap a string across it and use a bubble level, but that's tricky. This tool right here, this is a 3-plane laser. This particular one is made by Milwaukee. Just showing you this because I'm not going to do an explanation once I'm up there. So now it's turned on. Flip it one more time. Saw it wiggle a little bit, self-leveled. We look over to something and we've got a green line projected. So from here to over there, we're perfectly level, you know, in terms of construction, but I'm sure it's pretty darn accurate. And then I can look over here. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it in person, but there's a green line projected on that pole. So I'm going to get this set up, the tripod set up upstairs, and I'm going to make that line hit where the top plate of that wall is, and then it's going to project out over those. I'll mark them with a pencil, and then tomorrow I'll start getting everything cut and start working on how in the world I'm going to get those heavy steel structures hung. I'm going to show setting this up. So right here, you can see that bird's mouth, that's top of the wall. And then over here, laser's right here. I'm going to raise it up until I split the difference, if there's any unevenness, between those two rafters. And I'm going to project behind the camera as well. I'll probably show you some stuff. Let me get it set up, and then hopefully it'll be dim enough for you to see that line projected out on the poles. Close. Close. All right, I'm pleased to see that the tops of my walls are very even. Y'all humor me just a second. I'm excited about this laser and how convenient this is making this. This could not be any more convenient unless I could snap my fingers. But you can barely see it because I'm skimming the top of that top plate. But right there, where each one of those rafters is making its connection to the top plate of the wall. And then look at all the way down, perfectly level. So I can get out there with the ladder, get those marked out, and then cut to the proper height. If we turn around here, we get to check some of my work. It's got this self-leveling, so when I'm walking around, I'm shaking everything. Let it level out. You can see it going right across top of that 4x4. It's right in the gap, basically, which means I nailed it as far as the keeping things nice and level. So this goes all the way down to the tops of my concrete piers I poured. Getting those nice. Let's see where this levels out at. So that right there is coming out. My shadow's in the way a little bit, or the shadow of that other tripod is. It's pretty much right at the top, but you can see this gap right here. So there's probably some twisting and things as they dried. All this was built green. Let's check here. Let it level out, calm down. I mean, right here where, I mean, it's just a smidge off. I mean, as far as construction goes, this is spot on. But just very pleased. Lasers are about as cool as it gets. You can see the green laser being projected across the posts. So it's marking on this side and on the inside because it's, you know, the laser's up in the building. So I'm going to flip my light on to where y'all can see more of what's going on.
Sunday is a subscription using specific data to help you grow a greener lawn. Say goodbye to patchy yellow and brown grass and hello to Sunday's platform. Using the Sunday website, you enter your address and they use key data from your region and specific location to create a lawn care plan in seconds. They do this by using soil, climate, and satellite data to model your lawn. Furthermore, they will analyze the results of your personal soil test to see what deficiency your lawn has and update your plan from there. Once you choose a plan that best suits your lawn, everything is sent to your doorstep right when you need it. With Sunday, there's no reason to struggle to figure out what to put on your lawn or when to do it. Are you concerned with putting harsh chemicals on your lawn? If you answered yes, that's all the more reason to give Sunday a try. They use carefully selected simple ingredients that work with nature like seaweed, molasses, and iron. My personal wish for my lawn is to get rid of bare spots and green up the grass that I have. As part of my customized plan, I added a bag of grass seed to touch up any problem areas. After spreading the seed, I attached the ready-to-use nutrient packs to my hose and applied it to the lawn in a little over 10 minutes. From here, I'll keep the seed watered as it sprouts and await customized shipments from Sunday throughout the year. Head to getsunday.com/homemade-home now and get 20% off with code HOMEMADE20.
Now I need to bolt the truss into place. I don't have enough clearance on the inside of the truss to drill some of my holes just because of some of the structure. So I'm going to pin it in place with some screws or some 1/4-inch holes that I already have drilled. Then I'll drill the holes that I can. Then I'll mark the holes that I can't, lower the truss out of the way using the chain hoist, drill those holes. And this way I'm always drilling from the inside to where my bolts always come through the holes. The holes are slightly oversized to give some allowance. But yeah, so there's going to be some up and down getting things out of the way. And again, this is the advantage of using the chain hoist versus the tractor. I've got much finer control. I can lift up just one side. I'm not bumping the poles. I can pick it up, pull it out of the way, do whatever I need to do. That took 23.5 minutes. That's how long this video's been going, regardless of how I end up editing it. So this one was heavier. I can notice it with the chains. Looks like it's not completely parallel with the one in the back. Not sure if maybe I don't have one side seated down or if there's just some... Oh, you know what it is now? This front one has some bow in it, and it's bowing towards me. Is it bowing towards me or away from me? I don't know, but it's bowing one way or another, so that's probably why it's not. Because as I was coming down the ladder, I was able to sight across the top of it, and it looked dead flat. I mean, I know the tops are right, so I think it's right. It's just something's out of parallel, or it's just the curve. The one in the back, I wish so bad I would have built them both the same. Even if I would have built this one out of the same dimension, basically just doubled it up, because this one has some shake kind of like closer to the camera and away from the camera. I think I'm still within plenty of strength. I would just have felt better if I would have constructed it a little bit different. With that said, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. I'll stay out of it stay out from under it during tornadoes and 50-foot deep snow. Now a closer look, it's probably pretty windy, but rafters will join like this. Same type of screws I just used through here, they're just going to be shorter. So 2-inch screws, this is a 1/4 inch thick. So the 2-inch screws into my 2-inch rafters will come a 1/4 inch shaft coming out the other side. You could also use small bolts, I guess, if you wanted to. Put the rafters here, screw one in, drill, bolt, take the screw out, drill, bolt. But I think those types of screws are going to be perfectly fine, because then on top of the rafters, you're going to have strips of wood running this way called purlins. I think they're called purlins, and that's what the metal will be attached to. That side will have solid decking, and then the portion right here, which is going to become basically another building, this is going to have solid decking probably too, because there'll be a second floor up here for doing something. I'm not sure yet. I know it's probably extremely windy, but here's a view. So you can sight down it, you can see the slight curve, but after all the rafters are put in, and then there's going to be pieces that go across to kind of tie both sides of the building. Pieces will go across, then there'll be supports coming up. Everything's going to get really locked in. And then y'all saw the poles kind of moving around where they were getting loose in the holes. That was a good thing while getting these in. That allowed me kind of the leeway to push things around as I needed. And but I'm going to get this nice and compacted around this once these are re-leveled. But in the end, it's going to be all braced up, and then over time the dirt will really lock in. But I also have a jackhammer that I can put a tamping attachment on, which is a smaller tamping attachment, and work around these poles and really compact that in if I want to. But for as long as I can, I think having them kind of a little bit loose is a good thing. Also, in the last video talking about the post protectors, people were saying water is going to get down in there and rot the post. Keep in mind, these are industrial, agricultural level treatment on these poles. They're meant to go in the ground to start with. A little water getting down in a plastic sleeve around them isn't going to do anything. Plus, it's just not the way rotting works. You've got to have the dirt, the microorganisms that are in the soil, and then the treatment has to then leach out of the poles into the ground enough to even get down to a level to where the microorganisms can have an effect. For as long as I'm going to be having this open, it's just not going to have any effect. You could drill holes, which they're meant to have that done. You drill a hole in the bottom of each one, it becomes a weep hole, put some gravel in the bottom of the hole, any water gets in runs out. But even if water fills these things up, it's just going to soak into the pole and, you know, just get soaked into the pole basically, and then the pole will just continue to basically wick it out of there. But again, it's kind of a non-issue for me. So this is a huge step. I know this video is probably pretty one-dimensional, but this was a massive step in this process to get these up and to get them up on my own without any assistance outside of the tools I used. You know, I like doing things like that whenever I can because it just allows me to do things when I want to. Of course, when it comes to safety, it's good to have some people around. For the most part, everything I did here was relatively safe. Other than the fact of just doing this type of work in general has its risks. I think sometimes people forget that. You cannot remove the safety out of everything other than just sitting in a chair, and then, you know, you can have a heart attack sitting in a chair. So you just kind of take your time and think. Your brain is your biggest asset if you use it right. So just kind of think things through. All different kinds of ideas were going through my head, from having a crane come in to just trying to use my tractor to lift it up. Doing some sort of tripod thing, picking them up. But I mean, in the end, when the solution hit me, just to take the extra, you see them on the ground over there, take the extra poles that I have, rock them up, strap them, put a hoist, and pick them up. And it's just nice, slow, and controlled. In the end, I think for this situation and what I have easy access to, Harbor Freight, you know, chain hoists, and these posts that I already had, it was the perfect solution. So it worked great. I felt like it was very safe. The only thing that could have gone wrong is some sort of failure of something I was using, a strap breaking, but I mean, each one of the straps I used has a 6,500 lifting capacity, which means it'll break it a lot higher than that. I think it's 19,000 pounds. And then the hoists are 2-ton hoists each, so 4,000 a piece. So I mean, the lifting capacity of the tools I was using compared to what I was picking up is a vast difference. You know, that one over there, I'm not sure what the weight is, probably 500 pounds. I don't know, it might not weigh that much. But, I mean, you compare it to like a motorcycle and think of all the steel that's in this compared to like to a motorcycle that can easily weigh 250, 300. You know, so I'd say it's probably in the 300-ish pounds, that one. I think this one being 1/4 inch, all of it's 1/4 inch, which makes, well, some of it's 3/16. But it's drastic difference, 10 feet longer, 1/4 inch steel. I don't know what this one weighs. I'd say 700 to 900 pounds. I really don't know. It could weigh 1,000. I don't know. It's very, very deceivingly heavy. But yeah, so that's that for this. Let me get down on the ground, do some completed shots for now, and then probably call it. That's going to wrap things up. Do hope y'all enjoyed the video. Next up is going to be framing the roof. I'm actually over at the sawmill today. I'll be milling in the rain if I have to. Milling those logs up you see on the ground, more framing lumber, mainly 2x6s, and I'll need some 2x4s, but 2x6s is going to be the majority of the roof structure. So look out for that soon. Next up will be a video on the $9,000 house. So you check back for that in probably a couple weeks. And then this will be another video on this in probably about a month. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.